One of the key observations which I have been making, which we have made during this last couple of months lockdown, is that the products like pouch curd, lassi, milkshakes, and ice cream segments are completely down, and people were not buying not a single product of these types. And another thing is that, as you are aware, that institutional products, the business has completely gone down. HoReCa segment is completely out of business. On the top of it, the labor issues which have crippled even the small the industries which are running during this lockdown period. And many companies, from whether it is a private or cooperatives or small to big, all of them got a very, very big hit during this lockdown period. And if you look at it, we did a kind of a consumer analysis from time to time. If you look at the consumer trends so far, there has been a complete, increasing consumer demands for products like paneer, cheese, butter, ghee, and the consumption or the demand and the consumption for these products has increased significantly. Significant growth and demand also has been observed for the yogurt category, maybe because of the wellness factor associated with it. We have also seen, it is not only here, but across the spectrum of the industries, that we have also seen a small pack sizes sales going up, particularly in dairy sector, maybe 10 rupees pack or 5 rupees pack or 20 rupees pack. And also a bigger packs of processed snacks, increasing exponentially. That has been the trend which has been also reported by various the survey agencies. Another key factor which we observed is that the people sitting at home started experimenting with the new products, and particularly use of high-end products, high-end in the sense whether in terms of nutrition, in terms of quality, and in terms of the affordability. One of the important lessons during this the entire period learned, or it has been imbibed by us, is that the good foods, consumption of good foods that boost the immunity. That is the lesson which has been, which is coming out from this lockdown period. Now, if you look at it, how it is going to look for the time to come, is that COVID is going to go to stay for a longer period unless some vaccine or suitable drug is identified and administered to all. That is the fact. Social distancing is a reality and will continue to happen, irrespective of whatever the situation it is. It will continue to happen for a few more months. Another factor which is going to affect the dairy is going to be travel, tourism, and luxury items. This all will continue to grow, but at a very, very, very slow growth. We will not be getting a similar growth what we had been seeing the pre-coronavirus conditions. The fact 4 is that one of the important things which has happened is that the work from home culture. So the office work culture has changed completely, and it will go undergo a major changes. Now most of the companies, the service-oriented companies, are now looking at. The corona has given us an opportunity to look at whether some of the activities which are not required to be present in the office can be done at home. And this particular factor has also increased the contribution of the sales during this COVID for some of the dairy products. And one of the facts which everybody, the dairy in particular and the food industry in general, has to address or has to accept and move forward is a single most survival factor of good food and good health. That is going to be the norm in the future to come. Now, how we are going to, how the dairy is going to get benefited, or what would be the kind of consumer behaviors which are going to happen, which are going to be seen in the coming days, is that, so far we have been, the average consumer spend on food is around, around 25 to 30% in India, which is going to be around 40 to 50% of the earnings will be only in spending the essential commodities like food. That is going to be the reality, and there is a lot of supporting data which is coming from AC Nielsen and other, the survey, the national agencies, that the consumption, the spend on consumption would be very high. And one of the things which we have observed, I have observed, and also one of the things what is going to happen is that although the current and the future trend would be a consumer's gradual shift towards healthy and hygienic products. That's the key factor here, because everybody wants to protect their health and the hygiene. And one of the another thing what we have seen is last 1 month, and it's also going forward here, is that people are moving away from the animal proteins to vegetable or plant-based proteins, and largely towards the milk proteins or dairy proteins. And as I said earlier, people are looking for smaller and affordable pack sizes. There is a reason which I'll come a little later. And there's a very, very strong consumption trends, whatever in the product, few of the product categories, we are looking at not only the industry where I am, but also the data coming from other sources also indicating that there's a very, very strong consumer demand or consumer pull for some of the key dairy products. One of the important factors which every company has to, put in their strategy is that the rural pull is more, and which will continue to happen because of the kind of reverse migration from cities to the rural areas or semi-urban areas. When we talk about work from home culture, people would definitely look into shifting their homes to the lesser, the expensive cities or the rural areas where they can afford to stay in a good place and a healthy environment. So then the kind of a consumption which is getting generated from them is also going to be very high. As I said, the future outlook would be for migrating from loose to packaged products due to hygienic reasons. As I said earlier, which we have also observed, and when I was talking to a lot of people in the northern part of India who are the equipment suppliers or the technology providers, one of the key factors which has come in is that people have started moving away from the products which are being sold loose into a packaged product. And there has been a tremendous demand for a different type of packaging machines in North India, and which is also true in the entire country, for converting all the loose into a packaged commodity. So that is one of the things which is going to happen. That is basically primarily prevention of the contamination and also the hygienic conditions. This is one of the key factor where the every dairy, whether it is small or big, it has to adapt and it has to change to give a better products to the consumers. And we have been seeing a very, very continuous traction since last 2 months. And also the forecast is that the products like specialty products like cheese and paneer will have a very, very good traction as per current consumption trends, which basically contribute a good protein to the body needs of the consumers. As I said earlier, single serve proteins, enriched with the nutrients will be an opportunity, for everyone. What we have been seeing is that the products, 1 kilo product or a half kilo product, or the high the net weight products are not being sold, but there is a huge demand for the products like 20-gram packs or 10-gram packs or 100-gram packs, and up to maximum 200 gram. That is a very, very, very clear shift. Of course, there was some institutional consumption for the high weight product, for the higher packaging products, but at the same time, the demand for the single serve packs or the smaller packs has considerably increased from the general trade and the retailer point of perspective. And one of the key factor for the industry, whether it is a food or dairy, could be is a single serve economic packs. Just you take one pack and you just consume it and forget about it. So that's going to be one of the key factor. Another important key factor for the consumer is going to be a preference over branded products, over non-branded, over branded products, quality products, than the non-branded, unbranded products. And that has been also noticed during this lockdown period. People started looking for a very not only well-established brands, but also the local brands which have been doing good in that particular locality. Their sales also has gone, particularly during this the lockdown period. And one of the benefits, medium to are the localizer companies who have a very good, strong distribution network. Medium to large company, medium-sized to large-sized companies with a market outreach shall definitely benefit of this episode. How the future outlook is going to be is that, what we have seen and what is going to be is that health and wellness is going to be one of the important critical factor. That is where this yogurt category is going to is gaining an attraction, and which is not only coming from the metro cities, but also the demand is coming from the rural or semi-urban areas. We are seeing a very kind of a serious demand coming from these sectors of the population. One of the things which is going to be is that a high protein based dairy products which will find its place. Of course, we have been doing kind of a Greek yogurt or whatever it is, but the dairy products, if the people have to get an alternate source of protein from the and replace animal products, animal protein, then dairy would be the key factor in order to have a better product, and that is where this high protein based dairy products will find its place. Be it yogurt, be it drinks, or be it the indulgent products, whatever it is. And another important factor is probiotics based products, which have been gaining consumers' attention, again associated with the health and wellness. Now, if you look at it in the recent past, if you look at it last couple of weeks or last 3 to 4 weeks, many of the smaller to big companies started promoting their products like active product or active milk or probiotic curd or probiotic yogurt, kind of so many things which are putting in the market. And I'm also getting in feedbacks that for such kind of the products, there's a good amount of consumer demand, and the companies are maximizing their presence in their locality or wherever they are present. And one of the key factor which we need to look at every dairy, whether it is a localized one or it is a regional one or it is a pan-India presence at the national level place, is that there's a kind of a reverse migration which has been taking place. Okay, lot of people who are living abroad started coming back to our country because of various reasons, which I would not like to emphasize. Is that definitely those people are going to stay here, and since they have been staying there, for a few years, maybe a couple of years or more than that, probably definitely their food consumption complete pattern is different, and their demand for high quality, high end products also will be high. So this is one of the sector where one of the area where the dairy industry, the dairy players can look into and start putting products according to the need. Now coming to the last, last part of my presentation is that in these days, all these people are talking about whether we should have the products which are having medicinal benefits, Ayurvedic products, homeopathic, and the products associated with the wellness and all those things. But one of the key factor which is emerging out from the current trend is that dairy products with the herbal and plant extracts having a medicinal benefits. Okay, that is what is going to be a very key factor. It may not be having a very mass demand, but definitely there will be a demand for this kind of products which in the market. Again, now there is a lot of people have come out with the haldi or turmeric milk and all those things, but because they are traditionally been associated with Ayurvedic preparations and having known to contain the beneficial medicinal properties, probably this turmeric or ginger or any of the spices extracts or the tea extracts, particularly tea extract, I would like to emphasize is that so far tea extracts with the beneficial flavonoids and other things are not finding very much their place in the dairy industry. There are some very niche products which have the tea extracts or the green tea extract, whatever it is. But I think one of the area which we can look at in this is that why can't we manufacture dairy products with this kind of the beneficial components, so that you create a market and it is basically to improve the wealth and health and wellness of the consumers. Another important the products is that the products with the immune boosters will be the new norm. Okay, and this of course whether the probiotic is one of the major item which is going to stay. But other than that, is there any other products which can boost the general immunity of the population? That is what is needed to be seen. And our entire the reorientation of the R&D, research and development activities should be in that area. And another key factor, as I said, was going forward into the value addition is that the safe and hygienic packaging will be the key preference. Gone are the days where even if you look at it, we said that India is still having 70% of the milk, being handled by an unorganized sector. But a couple of days when we looked at the data, it has come down from 70% to almost less than 50%. So the current the situation or the incident has created even more demand or even more vigorous need for packing the entire milk or the milk products into a packaged commodity, which is safe to consume, which will have a shelf life, which can be transported from one place to another place. Cross contamination or the contamination and other things would not be kind of a thing. So these are few things which the areas look promising. Okay. Now, if you look at it, in 1998, after the Spanish flu, people didn't have much major pandemic for 100 years. And if you happen to see the history and look into the developments in the dairy sector, particularly dairy and food sector, and in particular dairy sector, in Europe and other places, the majority of the products were, after the Spanish flu, were, focused towards increasing the general well-being of the consumers. And they continue to develop, and you can see n number of products which are having with the, kind of health benefits. They may not be having a complete, across the country market, but there are people to consume and there's a demand. So every country and every industry post Spanish flu started developing similar kind of products. But after that, 100 years, people did not have such kind of the pandemic health issue. But now the situation has completely changed. When it has changed completely means that the way we look at our health, the way we look at our the environment, the way we look at our the products available in the market, everything has completely changed. And probably one more, this is a bigger opportunity for the dairy in particular. We start exploiting the current situation and we start anticipating what would be the good products, and we start our R&D activities. It may not happen overnight, but if we start doing now, probably over a period of time, we will be having a very good category of wellness products and to improve the health and wellness of the general public. That's the one part. And second part which I would like to emphasize is that this COVID or coronavirus has taught us many lessons. It is not only apart from the social distancing and all those things, it has also given a very good lesson to the industry as a whole, where our weaknesses are and where our strengths are. Now, for example, when I say weakness, I'm not saying I'm not in a particular sector and all these things. A company which has involved in a particular product or a single most product is that particular dairy or a particular small to medium size or large size dairy. Only one product is there. Couple of similar products. All those dairies have got a biggest hit. Like whether it is we take for example ice creams, we take for example the flavored milk categories, and we take examples to people who are only selling milk or into the curd and other things. These industries have got a they have taken a big hit. Okay. At the same time, the industry which has the dairy which has got multiple products could survive. So the coronavirus has taught us, given us a very very glaring example of what we are supposed to, what we were, and what we are supposed to be. So it has given us an opportunity that don't limit our the products only to a single or a double or three or four products, but be present across in all categories. That is the key learning or the key lesson from this entire activities. Now, for example, in some of the single most the industry which only makes ice creams, their their business is almost zero since last 2 months, and which is unlikely to going to revamp, come back to the original level for next another 3-4 months. And by then the environmental means the climatic conditions would change. So such industries now think in a very different way. How can we complement? How can we manufacture the products which will complement to each other during this kind of adverse situations? That is one of the glaring example which we are supposed to imbibe, means we have to accept and move forward. The second important factor is that that life is not going to be the same again. So those companies who have survived during this last 2 months and next 5-6 months period will be doing a better performance than the companies who got a bigger hit. Of course, they will also come back and bounce back with the introduction of many more new products. But the field is wide open. Dairy is one of the important, promising industry, and which will remain for the years to come. It is up to the industry and up to the people like us how we are, making the changes according to the needs and the demands of the consumers and according to the situations like this. And that would help the entire the Indian dairy to take things forward. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Sir,
hello, sir.
Yes, please continue. Your presentation slide is missing.
Yeah. So I think there was.
Other participants, please switch off your microphone and also video, please.
Okay. So this is what I just wanted to, because I did not go into details of what type of products we should be doing it, or what should be the pack size, what should be the.
Excuse me, sir. Can you slide present now?
Yeah.
Present now. Again, you have to give slide present now, sir. Slide. We are not.
I'm almost done with it, madam. Okay. I don't have any more slides, but what I'm saying is that
Okay, sir.
What I'm saying is that I'm not made this presentation to come out with a complete recommendation on a specific products, what is to be manufactured or what is to be R&D activities and what products are needed. I just left it general, looking at what is needed for the future. And of course, every industry, every company has its own capability to look into the future and to take lessons from this corona episode and look into the future and develop products which can stay with the single most objective of improving the general health of the public. That's the only one line I would like to make it. Submit at the end. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Ratnam sir, for your very nice, brief presentation. So there are a few questions that has already appeared in the chat box. The first question, Subin Jose from Synthite, please, you can unmute your microphone and also your TV, your video. So the question that is being raised by Subin Jose is that ice cream industry is badly affected due to this COVID-19. So his question is how much time it will take to revamp the condition. Already you have given a small example with regard to this, and will you please explain that?
Unfortunately, what happened was to the ice cream industry was that normally any ice cream manufacturing company would manufacture the products at least 2 months in advance and stock it in the deep freezers in order to meet the sudden demand during this summer period. Since last 2 months, because of various reasons, the logistics or consumer mood, whatever it is, it has not taken place. But this year it is going to be kind of a very, very tough year for the ice cream sector. The demand is not still there are places where there's a lockdown, and there are distribution challenges, and still people have not come back to the original kind of a mood, original mood in order to have such kind of products. So it may be another couple of months if you look at if you try to look for a little bit decent numbers.
Okay, thank you, sir. There is one question.
I am Dr. Shankaran. Sir, regarding you explained that consumption of the going up by 40 to 50% compared to 35% pre-COVID. So how can it be possible, sir? Is it because the income is coming down? How is the consumption going up 40 to 50%, sir?
No, it is not the consumption which I said. It is the consumers spend on the products, on the food would go up by 10%. That is an industry estimate, and people might not spend on the luxury products, but people would tend to spend a little more amount from their whatever their earnings, at least 10 to 15% more in buying the products which will help them to improve their general health and well-being. That is the point. It's not the consumption I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. There is okay. Thank you, Shankaran sir. There is one question from Deyanuga Neelam Raju. So, with regard to the procurement of milk in few cooperative dairy federations, has led to higher procurement due to this COVID. So, will this shift in milk procurement will be temporary, or private dairies may again come with the new strategies to gain farmers back? How federation retain farmers? So that is with regard to the procurement.
I think that the people have now the industry started collecting milk, and there's a good amount of distribution traction has been seen in the market. And again, it's all depending upon the price, how much price one is going to pay to the producer. It all determines that one, and the producers will come back provided you can pay a better price. It's a temporary phenomenon.
Okay, sir. There is one question from Babu Chinnasamy. So his question is with regard to 1 minute. He is asking, what are the challenges from plant-based dairy alternatives to Indian dairy industry? What are all the challenges from plant-based dairy alternatives to Indian dairy industry?
See, the plant-based products will continue to evolve. Okay, there's no doubt about it. But I don't see a much competition from the plant-based category products as compared to the dairy. We are large. The dairy is large enough, and which has a versatile, the product nature and also consumption. So I don't think there should be any serious challenge as far as they will find their own market. There's no doubt about it. There may be some consumers, but we don't see any serious challenge or serious threat to any of the industry.
Okay, there is one question from Dr. Rajendra Kumar, former Dean of the Dairy faculty. His question is, don't you think 500 gram and 1 kg packets will have more demand due to more people going for online purchase in future? That is a positive trend in future. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, 500 gram and 1 kilo packets. Yes, you will find little traction when you talk about the online. But generally, people tend to buy less than up to 500 grams only, not beyond that. That's what our thing. But we'll have to see how this trend is going to be. There is a merit in that question. I think probably people, when you are staying work from home and you want to buy, probably you may go opt for a bigger the pack size in order to save many of the things. But we'll have to wait and see how the consumer will react in that situation. I would definitely have no answer for that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Another question from Jitendra Parekh. What do you think about the prospects of UST milk, ultra high temperature milk?
That is one, if you look at it last 2 months, it has grown more than 25%. Okay, the demand. Okay, and I think probably that demand, may not be 25%, but definitely there will be a double-digit growth we can expect in UST milk. That was going to be a kind of a future, okay, which I would personally see.
Okay, sir. Okay, there is another question from, there is a code number that is given, that is P153 ICDZ. Is it possible to incorporate iron extract in ice cream? Extract of iron, I don't know what it means. Is it possible to incorporate iron extract in ice cream?
Iron extract or iron?
Maybe the questioner may be asking about the iron or the some other form of iron, fortification of iron.
Fortification is always possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then again, another question from Justin. Any alternative suggestion for frozen products for ice cream during this lockdown period? Any instead of ice cream, can we consider any other frozen product during this lockdown period?
I don't know. See, ice cream demand, ice cream consumption is completely different. The preference for ice cream is completely different. We cannot have any other frozen products other than replacing the ice cream. But one of the very interesting factor which has come to our notice is that when we were looking at the data, other thing is that the frozen product, like particularly the frozen the pizza, that is the segment which has grown during this lockdown period.
Okay, sir. There is another question from Manchima. So, what are all the safety and hygienic measures that want to adopt during COVID-19 in dairy industry? Safety and hygienic measures that are to be adopted during the COVID-19 period, particularly in dairy industry.
Yeah, say now if you look at it, last couple of months, Government of India, FSSI, or the local health authorities have come out with various, the health measures, the sanitary protocols, the people's entry, and things have been. I mean, a lot of SOPs, lot of things have come into have been circulated, and one must adapt, to those requirements. That is number one. Number two. Of course, one of the key factors which the dairy has to adopt is that allowing screening of the people. Okay, which all these days, we said that personal hygiene and all those things, but not that one. But screening of the people and allowing with a good health will become a very, very, very key factor. And that is where the industry is now looking for a kind of a less labor-oriented production facilities, kind of a more and more automation.
Okay, sir. There is one question from Mr. Amit Juneja. So his question is regarding fortification of milk with immunity boosters. Will you be able to explain it with one or two examples? The question is, can we fortify milk products with immunity boosters? What kind of immunity boosters you can suggest?
See, one of the immunity boosters is that your probiotic bacteria. Okay, there's a lot of studies and a lot of supporting things, whether it is a BB2 or LG5. These are known as it will improve your gut health, and it will increase the general immunity of the person. So that's what I meant. That is the area we are looking into.
Okay. Then again, another question from Nishit TN. What will be the impact on converted SMP and butter? What will be the impact on converted SMP and butter post-COVID?
People have got a lot of SMP in their stocks, so we'll have to wait and see. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but one thing is that the demand for ghee, butter fat has gone up. That I'm seeing a very good growth, the traction. Okay, so fat would not be a problem. SNAP would be a problem. But again, Indian dairy industry is highly unpredictable. About 1 year back, we were sitting on so much of SMP. Then all of a sudden, we were looking to buy SMP, import SMP. And now again, we are coming back and asking for the SMP. It is all, this is a temporary phenomenon. It will not have much of an impact.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Rajendra Kumar. Okay. Changran sir, please.
I said, sir, the fortification of iron, is it permitted by law?
Sir, we have to look at it.
Permitted?
Yeah, no, we have to look at it. I have no idea about it. Okay, there's a possibility fortification and enrichment can be done in milk and milk products. When it is allowed in milk, it can be allowed in other products. But we'll have to look at what the FSSAI standard says.
Okay, okay. Okay, Dr. Rajendra Kumar, will you please unmute your mic and ask the question? There is a suggestion from Dr. Rajendra Kumar with regard to the yogurt, the prospects of yogurt and other things post-COVID. Dr. Rajendra Kumar? Okay, he will be joining. Then again, Justin has a question. What is prospects of direct selling of dairy products in the future? Direct selling.
Yeah, it is possible. And direct selling, we are right now also, it means you meant to say the online selling, digital selling?
So he has mentioned only about the direct selling, maybe through Amazon or some other.
Yeah, that many companies, many dairy companies have tied up with Amazon and other online platforms. No? The Big Basket or Nature's Baskets and all those things. So everybody, growers, people have already tied up with such kind of things. But you have a limitations over there. That's a major problem.
Okay.
Particularly frozen products. Sorry.
Okay. Agreed. The one. Okay, there is one question from Ram Gopal. So he is asking about the health benefits of ghee, and will there not be any hike in demand for ghee in future?
For ghee?
Ghee.
That I'm a bit skeptical on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, Darpan Shah, he has a question. What are all the Ayurvedic dairy products? Can you narrate with some examples?
Ayurvedic dairy products, see, recently Amul has come out with a haldi. Okay, whether we call it as a medicinal property or Ayurvedic properties, or ginger could be one of the part. So similar things we can also explore. But of course, we have to do a lot of activities or developmental activities in those categories.
Okay, then again, there is a question or rather a suggestion from Subin Jose. Can you unmute and ask the question directly, Subin Jose? Subin Jose. Okay, he may be joining later. Then again, there is one question from Chirag Prajapati. Sir, please tell there will be any higher demand for fresh dairy products in future as compared to higher shelf dairy products. That is a fresh dairy products instead of the other products.
Yeah, the fresh dairy products, yes, there will be a demand always. There's always a demand.
Okay. And again, yes, somebody is joining. Somebody is asking the question directly.
Yes, sir. I have to ask some questions, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, Rajkumar.
Rajkumar. Okay.
Yes. Sir, we have developed in our lab so many herbal-based dairy products, but we cannot be able to climb the health claims. We cannot project the health claims until and unless we validate the health claims. So it takes a long time to introduce such products with health claims. I think it takes some more time. I think validation and other things, it's a time-consuming experiments.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of a sudden we cannot be able to introduce such products projecting the health claims.
Yeah, I do agree. See, yes, somebody has also said the comment that, they have developed a lot of herbal products or the Ayurvedic medicinal properties based dairy products. But the question is that, at the time before COVID and post-COVID would be now what the time taken would be, because most of these herbal products, what you claim to be, means what you have developed, will be having a known beneficial effect somewhere else. Okay, there will be a complete literature data, and we are just putting that into a dairy product or a product like in a dairy product, and probably then with a smaller studies and other things, one can get a regulatory approvals for that. It would not take much time as compared to earlier, but provided we are able to justify that it was already there and we have just added those things here, and if you are able to show some beneficial things, the process can be shortened.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I think Ivargi sir have some net issues. I will take up the next questions.
Yeah, please.
There is one question from Saumya Sharma. Will there be any viral effects in cows or buffalo milk when consumed due to COVID-19?
Madam, I have no idea about that.
Sir, another question from Rekha Rani. Immunity booster ingredient research completed in several institutes. Why industry not buying these technologies and selling artificial color and flavor containing flavored milk?
I think probably after this COVID-19, the industry would be a bit serious about looking at these kind of the developments. If the development is worth and it is we are able to adapt.
Sir, there is one question from Tangaraj. The addition of anti-diabetic herbs in buttermilk, should I am proposed to clear any ethical or else?
Sorry,
asking any ethical problem regarding addition of anti-diabetic herbs in buttermilk?
Anti-diuretic herbs.
Diabetic herbs.
No, that we need to look at it. I don't have an answer right away.
Sir, one question from Rajendra Kumar sir. Sir, if you are available, kindly unmute your mic and you can directly ask, sir. Rajendra Kumar sir, you can directly ask, sir, if you can unmute your mic.
Anybody else is having a question?
Sir, he is asking, what is the scope of people starting local franchisees for big dairy companies due to logistic problems and low shelf life of dairy products?
If the dairy companies are willing to do local franchise, nothing like that. I think we have been doing that one. Most of the dairy companies are having a local, contract manufacturing or setting up their own things. That is possible.
Okay. Sir, one question from Justin. You can ask directly, sir. Justin. Hello. What is the prime suggestion for promotion of dairy industry in rural areas during COVID-19?
Sorry, what is the question, madam? What is the prime?
What is the prime suggestion for promotion of dairy industry in rural areas during this COVID-19?
Making the products available should be the first prime important promotion, because what we have seen is that if the products are available at the rural areas and there are consumers who buy it. So one of the key factors is make the products available at a reasonable price, nicely packaged and hygienically handled.
Any other question? If anybody can ask, they can.
Yeah, I would like to have one point.
Sir, you please.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Nice. Good morning, sir. Nice to see you.
Fine. It was a macro level presentation by you. It's really, you have created a roadmap for the future of the dairy sector after COVID. In fact, in my opinion, I think this lockdown is going to be a regular phenomenon in our life. So the dairy sector has to work out strategies towards it. And there are many people who are asking questions for which answer cannot be given by any one of us, because there are a lot of research to be done on such issue. I think Dr. Rajendra Kumar has Rajkumar has pointed.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think
here. Please continue.
Hello.
Hello, sir. We can hear, sir.
No. I think the connection got lost in between.
Charles, sir, connection.
Yeah, Charles, sir. Charles, sir, you came up to half of the way. Then after that, I couldn't hear you.
Sir, I think he is having some connectivity issues.
Connectivity problem. Okay.
Then Arun Patel, sir, you have a question. Please unmute and ask the question.
Dr. Ratnam, good morning. Arun Patel here.
Good morning. Good morning, Arun sir. How are you?
It's a wonderful presentation, and definitely, as Mr. Charles was saying, definitely it will act as a roadmap for the people to pursue different projects. I have a general question to you. This is pertaining to the procurement, especially in the southern state, in a private sector. As we have been hearing that for definite reasons, that if the procurement price is going to be higher than the sale price, nobody will like to do that, we understand. So what is the general percentage of milk which private sector could not collect? If you can give a general idea.
Quantitative wise, it would be a bit difficult, but maybe around 15-20%. Okay, that's what we could see.
Okay, to be very specific, the organization which you are heading, what is the in the procurement in your organization?
No, our procurement has gone up by 2 lakh liters.
Oh, wonderful. That means you are well equipped with the conversion facilities.
No, we had we had a very good logistics setup. We own everything right from farmers to the market. The entire logistics is owned by us. So we could, take this opportunity and get more milk and, get a good amount of milk. Whatever milk came, we took it and converted into value-added products. And the market was always waiting for it. So we filled in the gaps.
Look at these facilities where they have got especially skim milk powder and butter and ghee conversion infrastructure. Definitely they have gone with the higher procurement. But the plants who were mostly dependent on the liquid milk sale, and since the HoReCa sector has really closed down their businesses, the sales have dropped as low as 60%. 30 to 40% is a drop.
Yeah, please go ahead.
And these people who did not have powder plants or they did not have the butter and ghee conversion facility, they had no choice but to stop the procurement. And this was unfortunately blamed on the private sector. Well, it could be on a cooperative sector also at times. So what I meant to say, we have to take a pan-India view that wherever there were some facilities additionally required and which were not existing, so after doing a detailed survey, we have to create the additional infrastructure, especially powder plants, butter, ghee and USP sort of things, so that, God forbid, in future there are some other calamities. So our infrastructure should be able to take care of every drop of milk produced by the milk producers. Then we will be
I fully agree to your view, because we should have a kind of a national milk grid kind of a system. We convert all the surplus milk, move and convert all the surplus milk and put a holding, and you should have the holding capacity. In absence of that, when this kind of problems comes up, and particularly either the complete the first season or the excess production, or this kind of situations will definitely have a lot of negative impact on the industry. Number one, not only on the industry but also on the farmers, because farmers don't get the right price, right? The people started paying only 17 rupees, 18 rupees, because there is no other way to handle the milk. So I fully agree with you that we should have a kind of a national grid kind of a milk handling system to take care of all these ups and downs.
So I have one more thing to ask you in general. This is an industry-related problem. As the cooperatives are given this additional working capital at 5% per annum interest rate, are you getting some facilities to the private sector like this? Are there some systems who are helping to you give additional working capital?
No.
Not yet. No, this is a very important and very serious question. Because
very serious question, but somehow the private industry has not got that kind of.
So have you approached the banks and just this is a general question I'm asking.
Yeah, we did address the banks, but one of the classic example was, this the repayment of the loan or the interest, the moratorium of 3 months or 6 months. What happened was when we asked the banks, they said that no, you can pay after 3 months, but after 3 months when you pay, we collect entire 3 months amount at one go, and the interest we will charge also the interest above the interest, in addition to the interest we have charged. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword. Okay, so you have to pay upfront, and whatever the interest accrued above that, they will charge another 10% or 11%. So it is not going to work out, in such situations.
May I request you to kindly narrate this problem to Mr. Charles, who is the chairman of the South Zone, and maybe a copy to us, because we want to really try to help the private sector also. Of course, corporate and private, everybody is procuring milk from the milk producers, so we have to help anybody and everybody who helps our milk producers. That is
that's right. We will write to them, and in fact, we also had a meeting with the agricultural secretary and the animal husbandry secretary. Then the matter was also escalated to him, and he said that they will look into that. But so far, I think things have not come into the right way.
I will request you to kindly forward with Mr. Charles and a copy to me, and definitely we'll look into it.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Hello. Subin Jose, you have asked a question. Will you come unmute your microphone and ask the question directly? Subin Jose. Subin Jose. Okay. His question is, sir, plant-based vegetarian products are getting popular all over the world. Do you think that we have a threat to dairy industry because people prefer plant-based products post-COVID?
See, we are at 1.3 billion population, right? Every sector will find its own product. So I don't think there should be any threat for any of the sector. That's my opinion. That's which we have been seeing it since last. Not this issue has not come up now. This the plant-based proteins or plant-based products replacement of dairy or dairy analogs. This has been coming up since last many decades. But I don't think we have affected in that sense, real sense.
Okay.
Sir, Dr. Ratan, sir.
Yes, tell me, sir.
Yes, sir. So what I would like to know is your advisory for milk collection center, wherein farmers pour milk there. So I would like to know your views or advisory.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, can you repeat the question? Come again, please.
Yeah, advisory for milk collection centers at rural area.
Okay.
Wherein farmers pour milk there. What would be your advice?
No, advice on what grounds, on which area?
As far as collection, hygiene and sanitation part of view.
Yeah, see, hygiene and sanitation point, if you look at it, we have a very, robust staff, means SOPs, whether it is Export Inspection Council or whether it is the FSSI or whether it is the NDDP guidelines. There are guidelines, we should follow those things. And we don't have to have any specific kind of a thing. We just, whatever is available, we just follow them.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Again, Babu Chinnaswamy, are you there? You can ask the question directly. Babu. Babu Chinnaswamy. Okay, there is another question from Babu.
Yes.
Okay, please. Babu.
Yeah, Dr. Ratnam, good afternoon. It was a nice
Good
seminar with you. I've recently seen that Milky Mist has launched UHT milk. So my question is, would we see more of shelf-stable dairy products in the market post-COVID?
Yeah, that is the trend we have been, seeing. We have been observing it. There will be a lot of self-stable, products would be coming up. And one of the reason, for such kind of products is that one is easy to handle, and second one is the hygienic, good hygienically packed products, unlike, the loose milk and other things.
What are the other products you might see coming apart from UHT milk?
No, see, apart from UHT milk, you have a range of UHT products like, whether it is buttermilk or lassi or whatever, we have been now packing in loose condition. We will find some traction in those categories. Particularly, the long life products will be the area which needed to be explored. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. There is one question from Dr. Jayaprakash Gupta. So the question is, what plan can be strategized to remove fear and psychosis among consumers in COVID-19 situation? Many are still fearing consuming liquid milk as well as frozen products are harmful to health. Which are all the strategies we have to adopt?
To reduce or to remove the fear, means consumers' fear in their mind, right?
Yes.
Say that is the only thing is that we have to say that we'll have to continuously educate them that the products which we manufacture are of hygienic and they don't have any contaminations issues, and they should continue to have it. That is the only thing, because say look at it 2 years before, 2 months before, and 2 months now down the line. Every one of us have got a great knowledge and understanding of the current situation, and people have moved away from eating the street food towards the packaged food. So that is the kind of education which has come out.
Okay, thank you. That is another question from Amit Juneja. The question is, if labor will replace with automation for dairy industry due to COVID, as you told, then what about their livelihood? What dairy industry can do to save their livelihood? That is regarding the persons who are working in the dairy plant. If everything is automated, what will be their future?
No, I am not saying that everything will be automated, and everything is not. It is also not possible to automate end to end. A complete automation is also ruled out. Certain areas still we need a manual intervention. What I am looking at is that there is a lot of migrations which are happening now. Now look at it. For 10 years before, we had a lot of labor in southern region, right? Now we don't have the labor in southern region. We have labor coming from other the guest workers coming from other areas. Now with this, they have now also gone back. So how the industry or any sector without a labor can survive? So that is the point I am addressing, that we need to have a certain amount of automation happening in the industry for various reasons. Number one, to improve the skill set of the people, to reduce the labor dependency, and to have the cost optimization. So this is how we are supposed to do, because we can't wait all the time for the labor. And look at last 10 years data. For example, now whether it is a Tamil Nadu or Kerala and all those things, if you look at it, the local laborers are not available for the work. And every one of them have well educated. Every one of them have certain amount of activities. They are working in whatever you call it as some malls or shops or here and there. They are finding their own way out. So labor, this question would always happen. What would happen if I do a lot of automation? But automation and will not hinder the labor activities. Certain activities would continue.
Okay, right. Then again, Dr. Parekh, Jitendra Parekh, he would like to ask a few questions. So you can unmute and ask the question, sir. Okay, meanwhile, you can answer the following question by Pobal Singh. How this COVID-19 pandemic affect the dairy education system in future? Okay, Parekh. Okay, Prajapati. Okay, please.
Hello, yeah, I am there. Now you are dairy education system.
Dairy education system.
Dairy education, you're talking about the farmers level or at what level?
No. Dairy at the technical
actually,
level.
I'm talking about the student education system. Because dairy technology is totally a practical course.
Yeah.
So how this practical course will be affected during this lockdown period and the future impact of this?
No, I don't see much impact in the future. On the contrary, we also, dairy industry is also now looking at the qualified technologists. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That I don't see any issues there. Yeah, this lockdown period maybe a couple of 1 or 2 months or till end of this year, we will have that issues of practical implant training and all those things. But going forward, I see a lot of demand for the dairy technologists.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Dr. Parekh, please unmute and ask your questions. Hello. Hello. Dr. Parekh, can you hear me? Please unmute and ask your questions. Okay, I think his connectivity has been lost. Anyway, a few more questions has already appeared in the chat box. So we will be transferring all the questions to Dr. Rithinam, and he will be giving the answers online or through mail.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the mail ID of Rithinam will be shared to all the participants. If you want to have further questions or further discussions on this aspect, you can very well contact Dr. Rithinam through mail, and you can clarify your doubts and questions. That is one point. Then many of the people, they are asking for the participation certificate. As communicated in our first session itself, we are having a series of lectures, and the 3 of the lectures are over now, and the next lecture is being scheduled on 30th. Once all the 4 lectures are being over, those who have attended minimum 2 out of 4 will be given away with the participation certificate. So you can get the details of the next seminar. Within a couple of days, you will get the details of the next seminar to be conducted on 30th of this month in between 11 a.m. to 12 noon. So if you have attended 2 out of the 4 seminars, you will be getting the participation certificate. That's a clarification I would like. Okay, there is one question by Jitendra Parekh. Parekh, please.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all of you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear. Please continue.
Yeah. I think Dr. Rithinam has done very good presentation covering what are the new things will come after this COVID. My question was there mainly about everybody talking about the cheese and paneer, but we have got some problem, I think, particularly the paneer way. Do you suggest for a small scale people what is the best way to dispose the paneer way? Cheese way, we have got a lot of WC, but when we come to the cheese way, I mean paneer way, there is a problem. So if you can suggest small scale way dispose or particularly from the paneer, it would be nice to all of us. Thank you.
For example, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Your question is how to handle the way coming out from paneer manufacturing, right?
I mean, small quantity, how to dispose it off, basically.
Yeah, that's a major issue most of us are having. I mean, most of the industry is having is that. Somewhere.
A lot of paneer, so I thought that we have to basically.
Yeah. If you are able to convert that into a spray dried product, nothing like that. That is the only way we can handle paneer way. Okay, that is the only way. There is no other way because you cannot use it back in milk or in any other product. So you have to have a sizable volume, maybe 10,000 or 20,000 liters every day, and you convert it to a small using a small spray dryer facilities, or maybe 3 or 4 or 5 dairies they can join together and set up a centralized whey processing system like what is in the practice in US or Europe. That would help in addressing this issue.
Yeah, I think that's the only way out. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay. The further questions that has already come in the chat box, it will be transferred to Dr. Rithinam, and he will be giving the reply through mail. So the mail ID of Rithinam will be shared to all the participants. And with regard to the presentation also, if anybody wants to get the presentation, they can contact Dr. Rithinam directly, and he may share the details of the presentation. That is with regard to the presentation. Our next presentation, or the last one in this series, will be held on 30th of this month, Saturday, in between 11 a.m. to 12 noon. Regarding the distribution of certificates, I have already announced. If you attended minimum 2 meetings out of the 4 meetings, you will be getting the participation certificate online. and that will be done after 1st of June 2020. So now we are coming to the end of the session, and I request Miss Sylvie Matthew, the Deputy Director, Dairy Development Department, Pathanamthitta, to propose the vote of thanks. Sylvie Matthew, please.
Yes, sir, I'm here. Good afternoon, all of you. On behalf of IDEA Kerala chapter, I would like to extend grateful thanks to Dr. K. Ratnam, CEO of Milky Mist Dairy Food Private Limited, who have delivered today's lecture on value-added products to support dairy business after lockdown. I'm thankful to the President Rajkumar sir, Vice President Givargi sir, Secretary and all EC members of IDEA Kerala chapter and everyone related to this webinar. I extend thanks to all the participants, colleagues, faculties, students and well-wishers who are supporting us and interacted actively with us by spending their valuable time, and it is highly appreciated too. Thank you all, hoping the same response in the next webinar. Stay home, stay safe and take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvie, for the proposing vote of thanks. Now we are dispersing. We will meet again next week by 11 a.m. for the next session. The details of the session will be mailed to you. Thank you. We can disperse now. The meeting is over.